Alright guys, so as I'm sure you've heard, unless you live under a rock, Tua Tagovailoa finally quote-unquote broke out this weekend against the Ravens in a gigantic comeback win in which he had like 500 and something passing yards and 6 touchdowns. I watched this game sparingly. I had a lot of money on the Ravens. Joke's on me. But I didn't really sit down and get into the meat of it. I didn't grade it. I don't really know how Tua played. I see a lot of people on Twitter are really excited about how Tua played, but I also know that Tuanon can be a little bit, shall we say, emotional about these things. So I'm going to go through and grade this game, and I figured I'd record it so that you guys can see where I'm coming from and understand how I got there, because I have a feeling that one way or another this is going to be explosive. Either I'm going to say that Tua played awesome and people are going to dunk on me, or I'm going to say Tua played terrible and people are going to be mad because the production was good. So right there, it's a pedestrian throw. You tack on a plus move because there was a dude in his face. This is a slightly above replacement level play. Most quarterbacks make that. Full disclosure, I haven't watched. I haven't graded this game yet. This is my first go-around. That's a good throw. It's a solid throw downfield. We chalk one up in that column for him. Okay, this one is rough. Now, that's a bad throw. That's not where the ball should be. But it was completed. It was about 8 yards downfield. And I'm being generous to Tua because I'm trying to actively fight any bias I could theoretically have. So instead of calling that throw bad, I'm going to call it pedestrian, and that throw was very good. That is a solid throw. The first drive of a game is typically on script. I mean, not typically, it is always on script. And Tua's doing well within the script. Until there, that is a pickable. Alright, so the All-22 is not yet out. We're going to have to make do with the broadcast angles and the secondary angles that they give on replay. We're also going to have to use the NFL's website, which sucks. But you'll see here, Tyreek runs a really good route. He's open. Tua's late on the throw. It actually was Marcus Williams, the best free safety in the NFL, who drives on the ball and makes a great play. He should have picked it the first time. The fact that he picks it the second time is poetic justice. But you'll see right there, Marcus Williams had a much, much better chance of catching that ball than Tyreek, and the fact that he did in obscure fashion doesn't change the fact that this is a pickable ball. Full disclosure, I'm recording this after having done the rest of the game, but I'll see you in the second quarter in a moment. Alright, so after a goal line stand, Tua's going to get the ball back deep in his territory. It's only a 7-point game. And a run. Alright, we're coming out empty, so this will be an interesting play. He's got dudes. Oh boy. I mean, everybody's open. And then we got a corner who completely... I don't even think that's a corner. Why is not a corner covering Jalen Waddle, an elite wide receiver? Egregious. Good throw, though. Pedestrian. Pedestrian. This offense is designed geniusly, though. The speed of the two top receivers just changes the game. Pedestrian. Just a screen. Oh, would you look at that? A pedestrian throw turns into a touchdown. There's not a quarterback alive who doesn't make that throw. It's just really good design and really good playmaking. Alright, drive 2, touchdown, made one good throw. Lamar just answered back with a 9-yard slant that Rashad Bateman took house. The tackling and defense in this game have been atrocious. First throw was pedestrian, of course. You could argue that that was a pedestrian throw, but really that's Tyreek Hill making a play. That's a bad throw. And it's a one-hander. We'll give it to him. We'll give it to him. Again, we'll call it pedestrian because we're just trying to be as absolutely insanely gracious to Tua as possible. That's a terrible throw, but he was under pressure, so he gets a pocket move just for getting it off. Alright, let's see who this sack is on. Is there anybody wide open right here he should be throwing to? No. His first read's not there. It's not on him. That's a no-fault sack. It's a good job of Tua to get away from the sack, so he gets a plus movement. And he also gets a pedestrian for getting the ball out there. Now, what is this penalty on? Okay, there is no penalty. So, drive 3 from Tua, still nothing to write home about, but he has been mostly accurate. Alright, Lamar just got a touchdown on a really, really nice throw to Mark Andrews. Let's see if Tua can answer back. Not starting off hot, that's a bad throw. That was behind his man. And honestly, it was way too short and way too late. And that's pedestrian. Again, there's nothing wrong with a pedestrian throw. I certainly would never punish a quarterback for making a pedestrian throw. It's just that I also won't reward them. I don't think there's any value to it. That's a bad throw. It was on target. It was just so late and so weak that there was no chance of the receiver making a play on it. It was a better throw. It's pedestrian, but high-end pedestrian. Put it in a nice tight window. Fourth and 1. Let's see what McDaniel runs. Or reliable QB sneak. They get it. I guess I got it. That's a neutral run then. This is plus movement. Good job. Then he just misses the throw. Can't blame him. It's tough on the move like that. But it's a bad throw. Tua going back and fucking airing it out, and that's a pick. That's a punt and a half. Alright, let's see where he threw it from so we can measure his arm strength. Ball's at the 46. Launch point is going to be at the 37? It's called 37. Intercepted at, I think that's the 20. 37 to 20. Add them up. That's 57. Subtract 100 from it. It's a 43-yard air throw, which means that it is a 33-yard downfield throw. Still not displaying the kind of arm strength that you would like to see out of an NFL quarterback. Let's see what Drive 5 has in store in a minute. Alright, Lamar's playing his ass off. That was a really nice touchdown drive. Some really good passing. This is actually about the time in the game when I told my co-host on the podcast, I think we got this bet wrapped up. Joke's on me. Apparently this is when Tua starts to go off. So, we got another pedestrian throw. And another. Not a lot of Tua going on here. Good job to get the ball out under pressure. That's a plus move, and that is a super pedestrian throw, and Tyreek Hill is the best wide receiver in the world. Yeah, you saw that one coming, though. Doesn't matter. Tua still gets graded on it. That is a nice throw. Line of scrimmage at the 50. Throws a strike with some zip to the 35. That is a great throw. And there's an out route for about 10 yards. Good throw. Nice little drop in the bucket, pedestrian, but he gets a plus move because I like the way that he manipulated defenders there. That screen was a little late, but it's still pedestrian. He got the ball to his man. It's not his fault that the defense recognized the play, right? This looks like it might be a drop. Let's watch it back again. That's a drop. Hits him in the chest. Pedestrian throw. All the time in the world. Good throw. It's not great. It was a jump ball, but it was good. He knows that he's got his possession receiver, because that's effectively what Gesicki is. Throws it up high for him to go get it. Good job to get the feet down. Alright, to a legitimate touchdown drive. Was the offense great? Yes. It was really well designed. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend like Tua wasn't really good on that drive. See what he can do next. Miami's gaining speed. I'm starting to see how they took the momentum away from Baltimore and really started to run away with this thing. Good throw. Look at Tua. This is definitely the best I've ever seen him play. Definitely. Pedestrian. You'll note that every pedestrian throw is a throw that could have been bad and wasn't, so it helps in a way. Call that a pocket move. That's a neutral run. Gains him like 3 yards. It's about the same caliber of play as a pedestrian throw. But it ain't a loss. Unless there was a hold on the play, and then this is going to have to come off the board. Okay, that amounts to the same thing. That neutral run's going to come off the board. But there's a plus movement in a pedestrian throw, so effectively the same result. Ball don't lie. That was a bad throw, and I'm going to tell you why. I might have to break to the all-22 for this. That ball is late, and because it is so late and so softly thrown, the corner just has way too much time to get back into the body of the receiver. That's a bad throw, and I'll note it. Alright, so there's no all-22 yet, but I went back and found it, and you'll see exactly how Tua messed this up. The ball is really high. This should be a line drive. Instead of being up here, the ball should be right at about helmet level, and it should be fired in between the sideline and the receiver. Instead, Tua makes it a jump ball late, and it's just not very catchable. If Waddle would have caught that, it would have been an elite Santonio Holmes style catch, and you just can't expect that. It's a bad throw. Alright, Lamar just broke a gigantic touchdown run. That should have been the nail in the coffin. Let's see why it wasn't. Tua standing under pressure and making a good throw. Wide open receiver, but a good throw. It was downfield enough, you know. Yeah, another good throw. Like, Tua is just layering in these slightly above average throws, and that'll move you down the field. Matt Ryan was once the second best quarterback in the NFL because of his ability to consistently make just good throws. This, however, was a mediocre throw, pedestrian, in which the receiver just made a play. Pedestrian again. There he is, and he made the wrong decision, and it was a bad throw. If you're going to make the wrong decision, and you're going to be late, you got to have arm strength to zip it in there, and he doesn't, so he can't. He has to be on time, and he has to make the right decision. Nice movement. Nice throw. It's a pedestrian throw, but it's 2+ moves. It was really nice. To spin out, there's a plus move. To continue running while 99's on his ass and throw the ball, that's a plus move. Alright, so the Ravens just turned the ball over on downs after 2 short yardage attempts with Lamar Jackson that went nowhere. And Tua's hot on their heels. Pedestrian throw, yards after catch. That seems to be the story of the day. Pedestrian throw, no yards after catch. Bad throw, behind. You want to put that low and inside, not high and outside. Wow, what an unfortunate play on so many different levels. That was a good throw. Let's go back and make sure. I got a little distracted. Yeah, that's a good throw. Waddle needs to catch that. It needs to be first down. Uh-oh, we got a Tua bomb. Ball's at the 52-yard line. The release point is going to be the 42-yard line. Tyreek has to wait for it, but it does land at the 2 or 3 yard line. That makes this a 40... Wait. Sorry. It'd make it a 46-yard throw downfield, about the longest I've ever seen Tua do. I've seen him get it a little further. And that makes it a 56-yard throw as the crow flies, which is definitely the longest he's ever thrown. I'm going to call this throw good, because if Tyreek Hill wasn't so goddamn fast, this is a pick. And frankly, I think that 24 Marcus Peters gave up a little bit there. Alright, Tua, let's see what you got. Pedestrian. Oh, he's so wide open. Oh my goodness. What the hell happened here? So, 40-yard line of scrimmage, 30-yard line release point. Ball comes down to the 20. Again, we're talking about a 50-yard throw, about a 40-yard downfield throw. Right in stride. It's an elite throw. It was completely uncovered and wildly easy. Let's see. Did Tyreek have to stop to get it? Or Waddle, whoever it was? No, it was a perfectly thrown ball. And I have no idea what the fuck happened here. This is the Jalen Ramsey special, just thinking you have over-the-top help and not realizing that you should just cover Tyreek Hill to be certain. Wow. Devastating. Can Lamar match? Nice pocket move. Little pedestrian throw on the sideline. I don't know what the hell that was. And this is why we get the camera angles. The weakest DPI of all time. I'm grading that as bad. A lot of pedestrian shit. If these teams could tackle, this game would be a lot lower scoring, but they could not, so it was not. Lamar going for the throat on 3rd and 9. Don't know if I support that idea. Alright, Tua for everything. Pedestrian throw. In the face of pressure, fine throw. This is going to be tough to grade, actually, because it's a bad throw. It's not on target, but it is downfield, and it was with pressure in his face. We'll call this solid. That's pedestrian. Watch Tyreek do things. It's a bad throw. Way to step up in the pocket. That was great, and that's a good throw. Wow. Is that how this game ends for Tua? With a really nice throw for touchdown? Yes, it is. Alright. As time expires, I'm going to wind this down. I've charted all of the plays as we went through them. I'm going to go plug them into the spreadsheet and see what pops out. As you can see here, I've plugged the game worth of grades into the spreadsheet. This is how I chart the games. I'll scroll over so that you can see the categories directly next to the games. Now, on the whole, Tua played a solid game, but I think that there's more to it. So, there's more Tua. In the first half, Tua was terrible. 2 picks, one of which was dropped. Wait. No, he actually ended up catching that. Okay, the 2 picks, both of which he paid for, were bad. Inexcusably bad. But, other than that, he was fairly accurate. That's kind of like a hard thing to wrap your mind around, but interceptions are inaccurate for a different reason than just a regular bad pass, right? Typically interceptions happen because of decision making or not noticing somebody, whereas bad passes typically happen because you just don't throw the ball where you want it to go. It was a lot of pedestrian stuff and very few downfield passes. He only had 3 positive plays in the first half. It was terrible. The sack clearly wasn't his fault, and he wasn't under that much pressure. It's not like, he only got sacked once the whole day, and he barely had to traverse the pocket in the first half. This was an F performance. It was a ton of pedestrian, more negative plays than positive plays, not particularly accurate. You want to see that accuracy percentage right here? You want to see that around 75, 76. That's a good, that's what Tom Brady, Justin Herbert, Matt Stafford typically put together. Matt Stafford last year. This year, different story. We'll talk about that. In the second half, Tua had the one elite throw to the wide open Waddle. I almost want to downgrade it because there was no pressure and no coverage, but I'm going to be generous and will give him the elite throw simply because if there had been a defender in trail, assuming it didn't affect Tua's confidence, nerves, etc., that throw still would have been a touchdown. It's a little bit of protraction, but it was an elite throw. He had 1 great throw, 7 solid throws, 18 pedestrian throws, taking what that defense gave him when it was running prevent. Now, full disclosure, most of the time, if a game is... I don't use ESPN per se, but typically when a game is 90% a certain team is going to win in the ESPN app, I stop grading. It's just chaos ensues when defenses aren't really trying, and it's too easy to complete 5 to 10 yard passes. A lot of passes that are at a depth, a lot of routes that are of a kind, which would typically be a solid pass, are just so much easier because it's tough to throw the ball 10 yards downfield in active coverage with an active rush. It's not that hard to throw a 10-yard out with nobody coming at your face and the defense playing off coverage. That said, this was an important game. I wanted to be as thorough as possible. I tried to adjust my grading to account for the fact that the defense wasn't really playing defense for about a quarter of the game. But Tua was really good. 87% accuracy in the second half is unheard of great. Like that, I mean, it's not unheard of. It happens. Josh Allen was 90% accuracy in Week 1 against the Rams on the whole game. But it's really good. If he could hit 87% accuracy every game, yeah, he'd be a great quarterback, an elite quarterback. He won't, so he won't, but that's the kind of thing you want to see. He had much more positive plays than negative plays. That is a rarity for Tua. He typically doesn't even get positive plays, so the fact that he's throwing the ball downfield, he's hitting dudes in stride, that's really good. His deep ball was always very accurate at Alabama. It's just that he didn't have the arm strength to really use it, because you have to beat a defensive back so quickly to throw a 40-yard streak. Right? Like, if you're going to be open at 40 yards downfield, it means you have to win your route at about 5 yards downfield, while the quarterback winds up and throws, so that everything can line up perfectly and the defensive back can be cooked. There's only a couple wide receivers who can beat a dude within 5 yards on a streak. 2 of them are named Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. The list isn't very long after them. There was still a ton of pedestrian plays in the second half, 58%. Again, this number usually hovers around 50 for normal quarterbacks. You'll see that Lamar, who had a perfectly solid game, good for him, but solid in the grand scheme of things, put together 41% cheap plays. These cheap plays are basically just plays that are not positive, plays that are not negative, these pedestrian plays, these neutral plays. So of the plays that Tua completed, of the runs that he completed and the passes he completed, on the game, almost 58% were completely replaceable, like Teddy Bridgewater would have done them. That said, this may be the first time in his career he had more positive plays than negative plays. That's good. 80% accuracy, that's really good. Now, the 2 interceptions hurt him a lot, and a 3.75 is typically a B- at the best, and it might even be a C+, depending on how that game actually goes. I don't use these algorithms or percentages as gospel. There's a little subjectivity baked into the subjectivity. But that's the whole point. If I really thought that stats were that indicative, I could just use PFR, and I could try to add a little context by saying, well, it was a blowout, so the stats are inflated. Instead, I do the handiwork. Typically, a profile like this, with a really high cheap play percentage and a mediocre slugging grade, when your positive play percentage is just slightly higher than negative play percentage, typically a game with this profile right here, I would give a C+, B-. But I actually watched the game. Tua deserves a B. Tua deserves a B because he was good in the second half, really good, and for once, he threw the ball downfield. They attacked downfield and they won. Now, put into context of some of the other games I've graded this week, he outperformed a lot of dudes. Dare I say, it's probably the best or second best performance I've graded so far. Daniel Jones was terrible. Baker Mayfield was solid but not good. Jameis sucked. Brady was just okay. Herbert was just okay. But you'll note, look at these cheap play percentages. One of these things is not like the other. You know, Brady is supposed to be a checkdown artist. We always bitch about how Justin Herbert doesn't throw downfield enough. 51% for Brady, 49% for Herbert. Tua's 10% ahead of them on his aggressive day, where he's really going after it. So, we've learned a few things. Tua's probably not the 45th or 46th best quarterback in the NFL. It's probably like 40th. Tua does have a high end. It is above average. If Tua played like this every game, he would be a top 8 to 12 quarterback in the NFL. what we've really learned is that the Ravens' defense is toothless in the pass rush. Their secondary cannot handle that speed. That speed is not going away. And Mike McDaniel's really, really smart. The offensive play design was genius. He got dudes open in space like crazy. I'm really impressed with Mike McDaniel. And it's hard to be impressed by the person that I've always called the best receiver in the NFL and one of the very best of all time in Tyreek Hill. And it's hard to be impressed by my number one wide receiver prospect ever in Jalen Waddle, who I compared to a more polished Tyreek Hill, who's a little bigger even. So between the elite receivers who also happen to be elite after the catch and the, dare I say, seemingly elite offensive coach in Mike McDaniel. I mean, nobody else is doing stuff like this. Kyle Shanahan does it to a lesser extent with less effect. The Dolphins can be good this year. The Dolphins seem to already be good this year. But 9 times out of 10, they don't win this game. It took 2 failed 4th down conversions, which took 10 points off the board for the Ravens. It took a lot of prevent defense. It took busted coverages. And I know that the Ravens got a special teams touchdown. And I know that they had a busted, well, not a sort of busted coverage in Rashad Bateman's touchdown. But even if you smooth out all those things, this still should have been about a 3-point win for the Ravens. Either way, they don't ask how, they ask how many. Congratulations to Dolphins fans on the win. More congratulations on the fact that your quarterback looked like he could start in this league for the first time. That said, I do not think that this lasts. I don't think that Tua has arrived, and frankly, I don't think that Tua's performance was great. It was good. And that's okay. Sometimes yards are inflated. Sometimes touchdowns are inflated. He was solid. And that's fine. I wish I had a hotter take. I wish I could come out here and say, Tua still sucks. He's terrible. I think in the grand scheme, he's still a bad starting quarterback, a very bad one. But this particular performance, this was solid. It was not elite. It was not special. He did not transcend a damn thing. But it was okay. Give him credit. All right. Until I grade the next game, this is Joe. Asta.